I was gonna put that in there. Then you started talking about bad. Like,
I don't think we'll have to worry about that. I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
welcome to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Brad. It's Eric. It's Josh. We're here to get you through this COVID-19 quarantine status. Hanging out with Eric's dirty laundry, stuffed in closets, wide open.
That's not dirty. That's all clean.
Okay,
it's all clean, bud.
No.
We don't know what's going on, but hey, we're here. How you guys doing, Josh? How you doing?
Great. I did another podcast this week with our buddy from Veterans Referring Veterans, Justin Clark. You guys can check that out, VRV. And we're doing pretty good, man. This was my week off to hang out at home and hang out with the family, so it's good. I taught my kids some valuable life skills. How about you boys?
Still working.
Working for the weekend.
Everybody's working for the weekend. Every time I hear that song, I think of the SNL with Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley in the Chippendales dance-off.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. I can't get it out of my head. It's great.
Such a good one. Mm-hmm. Such a good one. I'm doing all right. Yeah, just working, just like Eric. But we may have a little extra treat for you on next week's show. We're not sure yet. Josh is ironing out the details. Maybe a little surprise. We'll let you know. Please tune in to hear that. But before we get into a little bit of I'm going stir crazy madness with no sports on show, Josh, give us the FSA. Talk to us about Brian and the FSA.
Well, FSA-FR.com. You can go see our buddy Brian, and he's obviously a big part of what we're doing. I talked to Justin from Veterans Referring Veterans to about Brian quite a bit, and talked about what he's doing and how he's operating his company, how this is a full-fledged thing for him. Like, he's still in the military right now, but he's on his way out of the military, guys. I think he has about a year or two left. But this is what he does. He pours his heart and soul into this business. And Fantasy Sports Alliance is one of those things where you can go and you can play against fantasy football against everyone in the world. It's like a Scott Fishbowl, but you get to make money off of it. So you guys should go check that out. It's better than Scott Fishbowl in my mind because he designs personal logos for you. He goes the whole nine. You have constant contact with the guy who runs it. So check it out, FSA-FR.com.
Yep, check it out. We love it. So excited. Fantasy draft is coming up because Roger Goodell said the draft ain't getting held up. Donald Trump came out and said, did you hear the Donald Trump news, what he said to a bunch of commissioners?
Start on time.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't see the season getting pushed back at all.
That's because he's getting.
I can only watch so many replays of so many college basketball games on TV. I mean, I'm going to admit, I watched some like 90s Kentucky basketball, and I was like, do we win this one or lose this one? I can't remember. Oh, God. So I'm like jumping, and I'm jumping up and down for 3 points going in and stuff. I'm like, whew, all right. But I'm fiending over here. I'm like, Dave Chappelle, you guys got any more of them sports? What was it? DraftKings was their big thing was some horse race that was going on in like Dubai or something. That was their only thing for DraftKings that they had.
If you're a big nerd like me, you can do daily fantasy on League of Legends, which is a computer game. It's the biggest. Esports. It's basically the biggest computer game in the world. But yeah, you can bet on that now on DraftKings.
Yeah. Esports are taking over.
Yeah,
Esports, baby.
They got to do something. What's gotten to me is that how much they really are integrating video games into this. Like, they had a tournament of all the basketball players on NBA 2K. They had a greatest of all time team for Madden. So it was like the greatest Panthers of all time versus the greatest Bears of all time. Yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And they're just doing whatever they can. They did an NBA Royal Rumble, like in a WWE simulation.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy.
So, Josh, speaking of wrestling, since you brought it up, WrestleMania is coming up. Or it's this weekend, right? Or next
Tonight
weekend?
Was night one, yes.
Tonight's night one of WrestleMania. No fans, though, right? Empty crowd.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I did not, actually. I can't watch it without. It's
hard. It's so hard. I don't know how they're going to do it. The showmanship is it's most of what I watch. I don't care about the matches as much. I care about the showmanship in the middle.
I went back and I watched a couple of the clips from it, and it's so hard to really watch and get into it. You need fans. Fans are a huge part of those kind of things, and if you don't have them, it's kind of like, why are you really here?
And it's got to be hard for the wrestlers too. Let's be honest. They play up to the fans. Like when the fans are getting into it and stuff, they work towards getting the crowd going. Chris Jericho just saying Detroit sucks during commercial breaks, so they're throwing stuff at him.
Yeah, and I think that goes in anything when you have live entertainment. Like sometimes you just need a little bit of like something left in the tank and you got nothing and you're trying to dig deep and then the fans cheering for you or even booing you in some instances, it makes you go for that and you're able to give them that. And without them, it's difficult, man. It's very, very difficult. But from what I understand,
baseball's thinking about playing with no fans in their stadiums and starting their sport up. But I mean, nobody goes to real baseball games anyway. Like the Athletics will be like, what are they talking about? This is normal.
Well, if you guys have trouble with that, just look and see what the Marlins do or the Rays. They know what to do.
I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched an entire baseball game. Even like a AAA game. Like I'm pretty sure I've always left at like the 7th inning.
No, I watch them all.
Mainly because I've had too much beer. But still got to go.
And after the 7th inning, they cut you off. So
that's
what it's time to. I came
take
here for
it back
the
to the
beers.
house. Keep drinking.
Boom.
All right. So I kind of talked to Josh about this before the show started. But Eric, let me tell you about what I kind of came up with for the show today. Because I'm getting really hyped about these rookies, and I've been getting into a lot of like rookie hype because that's all we have right now. We don't have any other sports to take our mind off. So when we start looking at fantasy, we're looking at the rookies and we're hyping up the rookie picks and the draft. And the draft is around the corner. The virtual simulation draft, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if Goodell's going to be, hugging holograms of players. I don't know what kind of technology they got out there. But I wanted to look and see. I went back 5 years, and I wanted to see how many rookies finished in the top 50 in flex rankings in PPR.
Interesting.
So taking out your quarterbacks to see, because we're hyping up these rookies so much, and we do play some dynasty, but redraft is, that's the big one. Everybody plays that, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times with rookies, it takes them a year or two to get going, but I looked into it. So Josh and Eric, I want to ask you guys, what do you think the average was? The average players that finished in the top 50 in flex rankings. Oh, God. Am I still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just had an issue with my thing.
Okay, so I think I talked to him earlier, and I think the number of players is around 5. About 5 per year, I would think.
Okay.
Are you gonna Price Is Right me right now?
I'm actually gonna say it's lower. I'm gonna say it's like 2 or 3 tops. Because you figure, like guys like Josh Jacobs, they're not.
Is it 2 or 3? Give me a number.
I'll say 3.
2 numbers.
3.
Okay, 3. All right. So it's actually 3.5 was the average.
Oh,
very good, man. Good.
So going back to last year, there were only 2 rookies in the top 50. Do you guys know who they were?
Josh Jacobs and AJ Brown.
You got one, Josh. Eric, can you get the other one? I'm not gonna tell you which one you got right.
Josh Jacobs and.
You're gonna tell me which one I got right.
It's got to be Josh Jacobs, but no, I don't know who the second one is. Go ahead.
So actually, Josh Jacobs did not finish in the 50 in PPR. So here's what's crazy.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking at standard first, and he was like 21 or 22 in standard with like 171 points. But the 50th player in PPR was like 191 fantasy points. So he didn't even make the top 50 because that's how much he didn't catch the ball. So
it wasn't DK, was it?
Nope, Miles Sanders. Actually finished one spot ahead of AJ Brown. Finished one spot ahead. He finished 38. AJ Brown finished 39 last year. There were only 2 rookies. 2018. So we all know Saquon Barkley last year finished in the top 50.
He was a monster.
But do you guys know the other 3?
And now I got to go back and think about sophomores.
2018.
Josh, you should get one of them pretty easy.
Rookies in 2018.
Well, it's not Carry-On. Carry-On wasn't there.
No.
Oh, Chubb. Chubb's easy.
Okay, that's one. But you should also get another one really easy. Plays for your team.
Oh, Philip Lindsay. Yeah.
Okay. And last one was Calvin Ridley. So it was Barkley was the number 1 player overall. Philip Lindsay was 31. Calvin Ridley was 36. And Nick Chubb was 44. So we had 4 that year, which is really good. 2017 was the outlier year. That was the year we had a lot. We had 5 that year that bumped those numbers up.
That was because of those running backs.
Those running backs, right, that pushed everything over.
That was the Christian McCaffrey year, the Alvin Kamara year. There was a bunch of guys that came out that year that were just studs.
Kareem Hunt,
yeah.
Juju finished 42 that year.
Lenny, was Lenny in the top?
Lenny
50?
Fournette was 19.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette actually finished one spot ahead of Christian McCaffrey that year. 5 players in 27.
You'd never know it now.
And that's what got that hype. Remember, Josh, we talked about that going into 2018? Like, those running backs last year have hyped rookies up, and everybody's looking kind of like that Odell Beckham year was pushing everybody like, oh, go get the rookies, go get the rookies, go get the rookies. But pull it back. Let's calm this down a little bit. Let's slow this choo-choo train down.
Yeah, because, I mean, there was such an influx of talent there that you had to know that there were less landing spots available at that point. And that was a big part of it. I mean, even Miles Sanders, who squeaked in, you got to remember he spent most of the year in a committee.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you how things can be so volatile there.
All right, 2016. Eric, do you know who the best rookie was that year?
Did Gurley come out that year?
No.
Come on.
Zeke, dude. It was Zeke.
Oh, okay.
Zeke,
I don't
Michael
remember
Thomas,
what year these guys
Jordan
came out.
Howard, and Tyreek Hill had that second half explosion, got him up to 42.
We're going too far back after that. I can't help you after that.
In 2015, there were only 2, and that would be Gurley and David Johnson.
Okay.
Who both.
You mean
really
DJ's
didn't start.
only good season?
Whoa, dude, that wasn't even a good season.
No, I know.
2016 was his good season. It was an amazing season.
His only good season.
But yeah. But David Johnson, Todd Gurley in 2015. And then I didn't want to go back farther because, like you guys said, trying to remember the rookies when you're looking down and ranking was really hard. Even this far back, I was like, was he a rookie? Was he not a rookie?
Larry Fitzgerald. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I did. I clicked on some guys and I was like, oh, you came out. Like, who was it? The Junkyard Dog popped up in one. And I was like, when did he? Oh, 2008. No, you're too old. But he popped up in one. And I'm like, oh.
Well, that's like last week we were talking about Cam, and it was only 2010, but it feels like he's been in the league for 20 years now.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks. I was thinking, Brandon Cooks has got to fall in here somewhere because he's younger than Michael Thomas. He drafted in 2014.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
This his name kept popping up, and I'm like, oh, goodness.
Well, that's another thing, too, is like Joe Mixon's only 23.
Yeah.
23 years old.
But he got forced to leave college at a certain time.
Yeah, that's true.
He got asked not to return.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
came to go back to college or that ice cream shop he walked into.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, we did. With this being said, though, guys, does this kind of like reopen your eyes to these rookies? Because remember last year, who was it? Everybody took 2 years ago, we had Royce Freeman, right? Everybody's like, Royce Freeman, rookie. He's going to blow up. Darius Guys, rookie. They're going to have great years. And they did nothing.
All those poor Darius guys aren't owners.
Well, there
and
was
David Montgomery last year, too. Like, David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Well, there was a bunch of guys. Like, I mean, we started our dynasty that one year, and it was like Rojo? Nope.
Rashad Penny.
Those were the guys that were supposed to be the hot backs coming out. And it ended up being other guys like Chubb, who didn't have a clear-cut way to get to – because you remember they had Carlos Hyde at that point that year. There was another running back or two that came out, and they were pretty good. But I can't remember off the top of my head. But they ended up being better than a lot of those guys that got drafted first. So you just never really know. I think now you got a better chance with 2 of the top rookies that are coming out this year, DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins. I think they're going to be really good. And then Jonathan Taylor will be a close third.
I like Taylor.
I do too. I think they're all great running backs. But like Brad, me and him were discussing this earlier, and Jonathan Taylor had a really great offensive line. But
Wisconsin usually does, yeah.
They got all those corn-fed boys up there. So do you actually take a few points away for that? And for me, I think we've seen what Georgia produces, right? So I'm going off of that history, and since they've had that coach there, I mean, you've got the Gurleys of the world, the Sony Michels. I mean, you have these guys, the Nick Chubbs. DeAndre Swift, to me, I feel like that's going to be pretty good. J.K. Dobbins, the last guy that came out of Ohio State was Zeke, who was great. And don't get me wrong, Zeke was great, but that was a different regime, different coaching, and things have changed. So for me, it's Swift, Dobbins, Taylor.
I think
that's the way that I'm doing.
You can take a couple. Would normally take a couple points away for Taylor's offensive line, but he ran a 4.4 at the combine, and he weighs 220. Really, he's like 226. The only two guys to ever do that are Saquon Barkley and him. So the measurables are there. I know, it's the combine, blah blah blah. But he gets off the ball quick. He can run downhill, and I think he's going to be good in the league.
His pass catching will bother me because Wisconsin isn't a good. They don't pass to the running backs a lot, so a lot of the running backs don't get that. Even Melvin Gordon coming out of there, it was a questionable how well he was going to catch the ball in the backfield. In his rookie season, remember that? 0 touchdowns.
Well, he was horrendous. Remember, his own mom wouldn't even wear his jersey. Remember that?
I know, but
that's right.
Because
you don't remember that, Eric?
No, I do. Yeah. Now that you say it, yes.
But that's what I'm saying. He had no touchdowns his rookie year. And, I'm not saying every Wisconsin running back. But then, like I said, Ron Dane. Who was the dude that the Broncos took?
Monty Ball?
Yeah, Monte Ball. These Wisconsin running backs. There's been good ones, but there's also been – they got corn-fed big offensive linemen in the Big Ten that just shove people around.
That's true.
Yeah. But, I mean, like we said last week, none of these guys is a sure thing, no matter what. So
it's landing spot, right? Whichever one goes to Kansas City, yep, he's – because if J.K. Dobbins ends up in Kansas City,
oh, my gosh,
then you're like, okay, take J.K. Dobbins. Sure. And the reason I fell in love with J.K. Dobbins literally in that Clemson game when he was running on one ankle. Out there still just breaking off big runs and trying to will his team to victory still.
Yeah, and you got to remember there are some guys that are just going to have good landing spots. They're going to be looking to improve their teams. Miami, they're going to go after a running back at some point, and they're going to come in straight away and have an opportunity to start. I understand that Jordan Howard's there now, but you got to think about it.
What if Tampa Bay takes one of these guys?
Tampa Bay, absolutely. I mean,
you give me a pass catching back with Tom Brady?
And Bruce Arians ain't going to let you play if you can't block. So
yeah,
if Rojo can't figure it out, and he's not getting any more practice reps this season, off season, so something to consider. There's going to be plenty. Houston, they're going to get one. There's a lot of places that running backs can fall that I feel pretty good about.
Houston's got DJ. How dare you?
Yeah. So they're going to get one.
DJ's contract.
Jacksonville, you got to remember, Baltimore, they're going to get a younger guy because Mark Ingram is not going to be. I doubt that he stays.
Well, they still like the guy they had from last year too. What about Atlanta? They don't have a lot of cap room. They did sign Todd Gurley, but it's a 1-year deal, and that's it.
1-year deal.
I think it's a 1-year. Let's sell some tickets because their team might be bad again, and he's from Georgia.
It all depends on where a player is taken, right? So if they're within the first 4 rounds, you got to understand that team spent that capital on them because they plan on utilizing them at some point in the future. Mm-hmm. If it goes 5th, 6th, 7th round. Those are a lot of guys who are fringe guys anyway, and those aren't guys that you want to go and grab. But top 4 rounds, those are guys that you have to look at and you have to say, okay, do I have room on my taxi squad for these guys? Do I have room on my bench for these guys? And if I do I need – is this a position of need for me? And if you do, then you take a stab at it, man. And I think you have to hope for upside in some situations.
What about – because all these scouts have had is game film and the combine. We didn't have pro days. We didn't have all these other interviews that scouts do with these players because of what's going on in the nation right now. Do you think that we're going to have a lot more bust potential up in these top rounds? Eric?
I would say, yeah, probably. Just because teams haven't – I mean –
they're going outside their comfort zone. They like to know everything. Like, they get private investigators to look into their moms. Like, ask Des Bryant about that.
I'm going to say most teams will probably have higher bust potential. But I think, like we said, either 2 shows ago or 1 show ago, the good teams with good scouting and good GMs, they already knew who they were going to take before this happened.
Are the Patriots considered one of those good teams with good scouting? Because they seem to bust on their skill position players in the draft a lot.
Wow. Belichick's a good GM, but he's terrible at picking receivers. He's got a terrible track record with receivers.
Receivers, running backs. I mean, Sonny Michel.
Yeah.
The dude's got.
And
he's talented.
Was it Lawrence Maroney that they took that one year? Right?
Didn't they draft one in the 3rd round last year as well?
Corey Dillon did okay, guys.
He was a free agent.
They got from Cincinnati. Like they got Rex.
You're right. They're skill position guys. Other than Gronk and because they drafted Gronk, but
they drafted Aaron Hernandez. He was pretty good.
All the guys with problems.
He was actually pretty good, but
he was.
Yeah.
Look, you put the other stuff aside. He was a talented football player.
Yeah, he was.
100%. Yeah. He won national championships. He was good.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I think you'll have your quality teams that are probably picking at the back end of the first round will probably still get the guys that they wanted and the guys that they were targeting. But I think at the top there, yeah, you've got some big bust potential for sure.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely think that it's going to be interesting because it creates a more level playing field. You don't have time to go out there and do these private workouts, or you don't have time to sit there and have a lot of different conversations, go to pro days and things like that. So for someone like Belichick, it's going to hurt them. For people that suck at this, like Jacksonville, it's going to be good for them. Houston, Bill O'Brien. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's horrible. Bob? Oh, yeah. Bob's horrible.
All right. And Josh, since you brought up Bill O'Brien and his terrible ability of making, decisions, Eric, give us the update on what's going on in Houston and how Bill O'Brien is appeasing the season ticket holders.
So head coach and general manager Bill O'Brien of the Houston Texans cited the wide receiver's desire for a raise as one of the reasons for his trade to the Arizona Cardinals. That receiver in question, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins. So he says, we love him. We love DeAndre Hopkins. He made a ton of plays for us, but he's got 3 years left on his deal, and he wanted a raise. And that's just not a direction that they could go in. You've got arguably the most talented receiver in football, and you're going to be like, nah, that's okay. We don't want to pay you any more money. Go ahead. Go to Arizona. We'll trade you for a bag of chips and some old beer.
And a bad contract.
Yeah.
It's because of those baby mamas he had. That's what it was.
But speaking of, so DeAndre Hopkins DeAndre Hopkins wanted a raise, and that's why they got rid of him, correct? Well, there's reports coming out of Pittsburgh now that the Steelers are not going to give Juju an extension after this year because he wasn't a first-round pick. So this will be his third year, right? Third year. And then he'll be going into his fourth, so they'd have to extend him to keep him. They said what he thinks his value is, by the way he played last year, isn't aligning with their price point for him. So right now, they do not see him getting an extension next offseason. That could all change if he goes off again this year.
I'd say that's fair based on what he did last season. He's only been good when Brown was there, so.
He was only good, too, whenever he had Big Ben. I mean, that's yeah, so I'm not gonna throw him in just yet. I mean, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay?
I mean, I'd rather have a guy like Michael Thomas where I know he's basically quarterback proof. Like Bridgewater was in there. I think if Taysom Hill jumped in there, I think he'd be fine. He'd be fine. I know it's awful, but I'm pretty sure Michael Thomas would be okay. And I think Hopkins would be the same way. He's been productive with how many different quarterbacks? Yeah, in terrible systems. So
Amari Cooper.
That's a guy you got to keep around. Huh?
Apparently he's like Amari Cooper. He's a turd. So. That's what Rex Ryan said. Did you see that?
Well, that's why Rex Ryan doesn't actually coach a football team anymore.
That's true.
Have you heard Rex Ryan call a game? Him and Jason Witten are together.
Bad.
They're brutal, man. Even Rex Ryan on the studio shows, like before, is not good. He's not even good in a studio setting. Like, just probably go retire, bud. Just leave it alone.
What they should do is have Rex Ryan and Jason Witten call games at Guantanamo Bay as torture.
Yeah, that would definitely do it, dude. It's funny to me to sit there and listen to all these guys talk about it, and they're all giving their opinions, like Screamin' A and Skip Bayless and all these guys. And, it's just a bunch of opinions, and they don't even sit there and acknowledge when they're wrong. Max Kellerman's been talking about the cliff for Tom Brady for like 5 years. Grow up.
Just keep saying it. Eventually you're going to be right if you just keep saying it.
That's true. And it only takes that one time to validate yourself. So,
have you guys ever watched – so, Josh, you watch a lot of college. You watch college playoffs when they do the coaches' room? Like ESPN takes over all their networks and does all the different things.
Yeah, I enjoy that, yeah.
With Herm Edwards, but Herm Edwards takes over that remote, and he's like, hold on, let's watch this. And he'll rewind. They're like 40 plays behind on the coaches' room because Herm's like watching like some DB do press coverage. Yeah. But it like shows you so much. You're like, oh, okay. Like that was an incompletion, but okay, let's move on with the game.
That's why he's done pretty well at Arizona State. I got no beef with Herm. I like him.
Oh, you play to win the game.
Herm was a decent coach.
He is a decent coach. He
Jets?
coaches college again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys ready to roll into our next segment?
Let's
Sure.
do it.
As long as there's no NFL news anybody else wants to talk about.
Well, Alden Smith.
It's the little guys, helping the little guys, 'cause the big guys don't have time for the little guys. Segment.
Nice.
Uh,
I don't know how that came through, but we went old school with that.
Sounds pretty
yeah, I
good.
like that. I now I'm kind of thrown off. All right, so this comes from Steven Spurlock, and he asked. So he wants to know in a 14-team Superflex PPR tight end premium.
Oh,
Okay. Does he say what the tight end premium is, or just say tight end premium?
No, it doesn't say. It just says tight end premium. So we'll just say for point.
It's a point and a half is one we would
point.
guess. It's normally. Yep.
Mark Andrews, Robbie Anderson in the 209,
Okay.
or Austin Hooper and Kerryon Johnson.
What was the first side?
Mark Andrews, Robbie Anderson, and the 209, so second round, ninth pick, and Austin Hooper and Kerryon Johnson. So which side of this trade? You got to remember Mark Andrews in a new location. No, he stayed the same. Robbie Anderson and the 209, and then Austin Hooper and Kerryon Johnson.
What do you think, Eric? I'll let you go since Josh kind of called you for that.
I like Mark Andrews and the 209 there. I don't love Robbie Anderson with the Panthers. We talked about that last week, but I like in a tight end premium. I like Andrews better than Hooper and who's the other one?
Kerryon?
Yeah, I'm out on Kerryon.
Just when I thought you couldn't do anything dumber, you go ahead and completely redeem yourself. Yeah, I agree completely with you. That's the side you got.
Nice dumb and dumber.
I think Josh,
reference. Very good.
I have to agree with you guys on this one. As much as I want to pick Kerryon, even in a 14-team league where you probably desperately need a running back, Mark Andrews and a tight end premium. We saw what he did last year. Robbie Anderson is going to be in a new spot in Carolina. I think this is pretty good value. I think you got to take that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the 9th pick in the 14th isn't great. That's like, what, the 23rd pick overall?
Yeah, I mean,
14 team, yeah. But
yeah. Still, you might get a decent rookie out of that. An okay rookie out of that.
Okay, now, this just says in Dynasty League, would you rather have Marquise Brown or O.J. Howard in a vacuum?
Marquis Brown. And I'll tell you why. Because with Lamar Jackson, I think everybody was like, oh, Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball. He throws the ball just fine. Marquise Brown is going to be a year healthier. He was not healthy last year. That whole season he played, he was still recovering from that injury. So now he's sitting at home, COVID. He's working out with his cousin. Don't like that. But but they're working out together, and he's staying in somewhat of shape, and he's staying football ready. And in that offense, and then O.J. Howard, I know Tom Brady's there, and that's the hype for it, but Tom Brady's got all these weapons. Tom Brady's never had this many weapons in his career.
Yeah, it's true.
At one
well,
time.
do you count the weapons that Aaron Hernandez had?
Man,
Because that's like extra weapons.
Bad form. Bad form.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking there.
I think this year, I hate to say it, but I kind of like O.J. Howard better this year. But in terms of overall dynasty, yeah, Marquise Brown.
And we didn't hear if it was tight end premium, maybe. But even then, O.J. Howard is such a gamble, man.
He is.
That's such a gamble. Like, I feel like you could keep Marquise Brown and trade something else on your team for O.J. Howard.
Yeah,
okay.
You could.
So, this is from Fantasy Hustle.
Ooh, hustling, bustling.
Yeah, but apparently they can't get anyone to answer the question, so we will do it. Would you like to have Chris Godwin or Calvin Ridley and the 107? Ooh, right?
I like Godwin better there, personally.
You like Godwin better?
I do.
Was Calvin Ridley and the 107?
Yeah.
Does he say any stimulations? Is this super flex or regular?
No specifics.
Okay. Because if this is super flex, you're getting you one of those good wide receivers at the 107. because Tua and Burrows are going. Then your running backs are probably going,
Herbert's gone too by then, probably too.
and probably Herbert. So you're getting one of those good wide receivers to make up the difference there. I like that side a lot better. I just like my draft picks too. I love Godwin, but I don't know what Tom Brady's going to do there. Arian says he still has the arm strength.
I don't think he needs to have the arm strength for Godwin's routes, but it's okay.
But Mike Evans, and then you cancel each other out. He's not going to force feed the ball like Jameis did either.
No, he won't. But I think Godwin gets more looks because of that.
All right. And this one comes from Chris Moxley in a 12-team PPR Dynasty League. Alvin Kamara or OBJ and Kenyon Drake.
I don't know why you guys are talking about this. This is easy. This is easy.
Yeah, we
Let's
know.
go propose to a kicking net. Let's go to propose to a kicking net. Let's go eat some pizza in bed with a chick who may or may not be doing other stuff. I don't know what she's doing in the bed. Whatever.
Okay.
Let's just go on down to Believeland and let's just fire up some Odell Beckham.
Okay.
Give me Odell back.
I figured as much.
Um,
What was the other part of that trade?
Yeah, what was the other side?
Quit listening.
It was OBJ and Kenyon Drake
Actually, listen.
for Alvin Kamara.
For Alvin Kamara.
Alvin.
Kamara's done.
In a
Taysom Hill's
12-team
taking all his
PPR Dynasty League.
Taysom Hill's taking all of Kamara's work.
He's a vulture. Gosh, I hate you, Taysom Hill. Yeah, I got to go with OBJ and Drake there, for sure. Drake's still playing for a contract, and, well, no, he got paid. I'm sorry. No, he got transition tagged. Transition tagged, right?
Yeah, he's going to be on the Cardinals. He's
Yeah.
staying there.
So he's fighting for a big deal. I like guys in contract year. We've talked about that, and then OBJ is still OBJ. So
Okay. Now, this comes from Kane Club. He says, which running back do you think will perform the best in 2020? So this is just next year alone. Benny Snell Jr. Brad, I know you like that. Bryce Love, Dare Ogunbowale, or Duke Johnson?
Everything as it is right now,
Yes.
with the rosters how they are and everything set in stone the way it is.
Yes.
Dari Ogunbowale.
he plays for
he'll finish
Atlanta,
the
right?
best. No, he plays for Tampa Bay.
Tampa. That's
These
right.
are all like
Tampa. There was a
second-
lot of hype for him last year, right?
These are second, third running back on your bench.
Yeah.
Like the third running back down.
Benny
But it's
Snell.
deep dynasty league.
Who's going to
If
perform
nobody-
better out of those four?
Yeah, Duke Johnson
I think-
could.
These are probably players that are on his waiver wire, and he's like got a
Yeah.
spot to fill. So I think the people who gave you the most upside are probably Bryce Love and Duke Johnson. Bryce Love was hurt a lot last year, and that's why we didn't see him. Yeah.
I don't even know who Bryce Love
recovering
is.
from
So
injury.
who's he play for?
He was really good at Stanford. He's like broke records running the ball, but he tore his ACL
In the
last year
Ivy
before
League.
the season.
Who cares?
And hold on, he tore his
Christian
ACL,
McCaffrey.
and he plays for They don't play in the Ivy. They
John-
play in the Pac-10.
Yeah. John Elway played for Stanford.
He
Ever heard of
also
him?
hold on, and Andrew Luck did. Come on, man, get your stuff together.
Andrew
tried
Luck,
to do
yeah,
well.
but he was a quarterback. That's different. You want a
Okay.
really smart quarterback.
No, okay. All I'm gonna say about Bryce Love though, he plays in Washington. If we know anything about Washington players, unless your name's Adrian Peterson, you're going to be hurt.
Okay.
And it's just I don't like the situation down there in Washington, so that's why I don't like Bryce Love, who's already had ACL injuries. He's still behind Darius Guice, who's had like 17 knee injuries, and Adrian Peterson still floating around there. So next year alone, Bryce Love ain't getting on the field.
I think they still have 6 running backs on the roster right now.
Is,
I'm not
is,
even kidding.
Is Fat
No,
Rob?
probably
Fat Rob's not on the team too, right?
No, Fat Rob is gone.
Samaje P. Ryan got cut too, right?
Oh, sad.
Yes.
Fat
they
Rob.
both got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone.
So I like Duke Johnson there. I
Yeah,
think David
I-
Johnson's
Duke-
back is not going to be all the way back, and I think he's going to be hurt. I think Duke's going to get a lot of there was no pun intended there. I just can't talk. And I think Duke's going to get plenty of work. Unless they draft somebody which they don't have a first-round pick anyway, so they're not getting a DeAndre Swift, a Jonathan Taylor, or somebody like that, so a J.K. Dobbins. So, yeah, I think Duke's going to get plenty of work.
All I want to say about Duke Johnson is probably the safest one there. The Daro Ogunbowale, I can't say his name.
Ogunbowale.
A Goomba
There you go. He said it.
Yeah.
If Tampa doesn't take a running back in, like Josh said, the top 3 or 4 picks, he's going to be the pass catching guy there because we know Ronald Jones can't pass protect. And you want to take Tom Brady's check down guy, correct?
Yeah.
Is James White role? Exactly.
I can't imagine they don't sign somebody, though, like we talked about, like a Deion Lewis or a.
Deion Lewis got signed by the Giants, baby.
Ew, gross.
Yeah. But that's right now, with the way the rosters stand, that's why he's the
copy.
He's the big. I think he's got the highest ceiling chance.
The upside factor.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's something that you guys can really put some thought into. It's a 14-team IDP, so individual defensive player.
Ew. People still play that?
Remember, this is a 14-team league, and they have 38-man rosters.
Because IDP just shoots those roster spots up like crazy.
Okay, tight end premium, 1 QB, and then a half-point PPR. So this is a rebuilding team. Would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins or the 110, a first-rounder next year, and Sammy Watkins?
Who actually, before we get into this, Sammy Watkins is restructuring his deal to stay in Kansas City. So he will be in Kansas City next year.
And he got a no-trade clause.
And you said it's a rebuilding team.
Yes. So would you rather have Nuke or
I'm keeping Nuke,
the 20 a first rounder next year, and Sammy Watkins?
I'm keeping Nuke. In a team this deep, in a league this deep with this many roster spots, you can get more for Nuke. I need to get 2 players I can start, 2 to 3 players and some draft picks that I can start on my team. Because this deep, if I'm getting Watkins, who is, he had 2 good games last year? Very first game of the season, and then in the playoffs? And that playoff game didn't really help us?
Yeah, first and last.
Nuke, who had a bad year, still finished in the top 5 of wide receivers, like in a bad year. So I'm still keeping Nuke, and I'll drop Nuke, 100% I will, but I think you can get a better draft pick and better all-around players that'll start on your team.
Yeah, we talked about the value of a first-round pick last week, and for Nuke, you should easily be able to get the 1-1 and probably another top 15 guy.
I don't know if you can get the 1-1 in that deep of a league because but you should be able
to
get
Nuke. I think you should be able to get the 1-1 for Nuke, and
you should be able to get
another
a
piece.
First, a second. Yeah, you should be able to get a lot because you need a 30 round. There's no waiver wire in that league. There's no waiver wire.
Right.
I mean, it is, but it's like you're swapping your cornerbacks out each week.
You're out there looking for Daria Gunbawales, just falling
No, you're not. You're going out there.
Benny Snell's already rostered, yeah. So
you got Vayton Landerash who blew out his neck, so you're going out and picking you up another Melvin Ingram or something. You're picking up another linebacker.
You know, Brad, thanks for bringing that up because this is a perfect way to close out this show. Them boys decided to go ahead and sign a defensive player. I know we don't normally talk about defensive players here, but they picked up a guy who hasn't played football in 4 years. His name was Aldon Smith. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him.
He was pretty good once upon a time.
He was very good. He played for the Raiders and the Niners. Very good back in the Harbaugh era. Very good player. Problem is, Harbaugh era. It tells you how long ago that was. Now, the problem is that he hasn't played football in 4 years. So, do you feel hopeful about Antonio Brown being a future Cowboy, Eric?
Oh, no.
Yes, he will be.
Here's the difference.
Yeah,
Here's the difference between Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown if he gets.
He was formally charged.
Yeah, if those charges get upheld.
Yeah, he's in bad shape.
It may happen.
Yeah, but them boys, they sign everybody.
Sure. We signed Greg Hardy after he, beat a woman. We signed Randy Gregory, even though we knew he had issues with marijuana and hasn't really played at all.
When you spend all your money on your offense, on your triplets, because Jerry Jones,
he loves those triplets. Loves them.
That's all he wants. Quincy Carter, that was one of his triplets back in the day. So Quincy Carter, Marion.
Don't bring up the dark ages of the quarterback stuff. As much as I don't like Dak and I don't think he's worth what they're paying him on the franchise tag, those were dark years.
Last thing before we end the show, when I was going back my 5 years for this thing for the rookies, when I was back in 2015, I completely forgot that Calvin Johnson was still in the league in 2015.
Oh, he was so good.
It seems so long ago that he was in the league. It seems like ages.
Well, he only played for, 9 years? Right? Something like that. He was so good. And it's too bad he toiled away. Kind of like Barry Sanders on those
I wish
bad
I'd have
Lion
played
teams.
a PPR. I wish I would have PPR was a bigger thing with Calvin Johnson. Do you realize how much crazier his numbers are in PPR?
Oh, my God.
Because standard was still the thing during his prime.
It was.
My thing is that I still think there's hope, because the last time that Aldon Smith was in legal trouble was actually last year. In June of 2019, he was stopped by the police in Kansas for a traffic violation and later arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence. His rap sheet, I mean, it goes all the way back to 2012 when he was driving under the influence. He suffered a couple of stab wounds when he was at a party where a couple people were shot.
Domestic violence, too, I believe, there somewhere.
He was charged with 3 felony counts of illegal possession of an assault weapon. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Antonio Brown, he just tried to fight a moving guy. He'll be a Cowboy.
So the thing with Aldon Smith is it's 100% just you're putting people on the roster. They'll probably cut him in training camp, and maybe the Cowboys that make the playoffs, maybe they're going to be our Hard Knocks team.
Ooh,
that's a good point.
And they're getting the storylines ready for the Hard Knocks.
But here's something that Aldon Smith has never done. He hasn't Facebook Lived from a locker room.
You don't know that.
Show me the footage.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it was a thing back the last time that he was playing.
So it wasn't a thing. But he didn't do that, right?
We don't know.
I don't remember any instances of him being like a locker
he didn't
room
freeze his feet.
cancer or freezing his feet or just being a general psychopath. So, I mean, Antonio Brown legitimately might have like CTE already. So, I kind of feel bad for him at the same time. Me.
Well, he did bite a woman's wrists in 2018 after he consumed multiple bottles of tequila.
Aldon Smith.
So that's so you good with that? And you mean to tell me Antonio Brown can't be a Cowboy? Come on, dude. The bar's so low.
It is pretty low. You're right. I mean, Greg Hardy was probably the lowest point in terms of like signings for us.
Oh, 100%. There was no reason Greg Hardy should have been
he was a bad human being.
If there would have been video that popped up of him.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, there's it's like Greg Hardy and Ray Lewis are like right here, but like.
Why are we ending on bad notes, man? The Cowboys signed some good defensive players, man. They went out and got Gerald McCoy, who, if that dude can stay healthy, he's a good locker room presence. He's a great man in the middle.
Yeah.
But
their defense is smoke and mirrors. They're terrible.
Okay. I like it.
Hey, Eric, we're doing this on Zoom tonight, okay? I just got your text. It literally just came through.
I really do think
the network here is so bad. I don't get it, man. It's so weird.
I think it's something to do with your phone, because I still text multiple people back in New Mexico, and your phone is the only one that has that delay.
All right, Josh, send us out of here before we run out of time and Zoom kicks us
out. Thanks for tuning in to Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at MTWagonFF. You can find Brad at Tack Jones. Eric is at Guns of Eld 19. He'll be on online playing video games right after this if you guys want to get up with him.
Damn right.
I don't know what his gamer tag is, but I'm sure he'll tell you.
Guns of Eld 19.
Yeah, of course it is. And then I'm at FF Josh Hughes. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you, and we will make you hear from us next week. Bye.
Bye.
Later.